Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. Today is February 10th. It's Wealth Wednesday. I'm excited to be here with you today. Our quote of the day is, if you are persistent, you will get it. If you are consistent, you will keep it. We've got the dates for National Conference. It is coming up just around the corner here on March 18th. We've got 3 days of great training, so do make sure you've got those 3 days cleared out so that you can be fully present. Tickets are now available. I was able to find them just by searching for the National Conference in the Helios calendar and going over to March. And then just when you click on the event itself, you can get yourself registered there, get your tickets purchased. So go ahead and get that done. I'm excited to see you there for a national conference in March. We've got our dates for Leaders Retreat. The dates did get adjusted or updated, so make sure to switch this in your calendar if you had the old dates in there. We're going to be going to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, August 20th through the 24th. Excited to see you all there. Every Monday, we have our Founders Live at 4 p.m. Make sure you tune in through the Facebook page. It's through the Renatus Founders Live Facebook page every Monday at 4 p.m. There are 3 kinds of people in this world: people who make it happen, people who watch what happens, and then the people who wonder what happened. So if you're tuning into the Founders Live, you're never wondering what's going on. Every Monday night, we have our national study group at 7 p.m. Right now, we're making our way through the essentials courses. Make sure you do download the Renatus Helios app. It is a great feature where it has many great features. One of them being you can share the Money Matrix videos with your guests. And when you do so, you gain access, or excuse me, you gain protection. So you want to know how to locate your access code, and then you would give your guest the access code to enter once they download the app. And that gives you protection over that guest. So make sure you are taking advantage of the app. It's got some really great features. And also, if you're happy with it, make sure to give it 5 stars. This Saturday, we have our Super Saturday training. We are collaborating with Richard Stock's team. So join us on Saturday. The event is in the calendar, and you'll see that from 9 to 12. And then immediately after, from 12 to 1, just for an hour, we're going to be meeting in a separate meeting room to put together a music video for the national conference. So every year, if you're not aware, Bob Snyder's daughter actually produces a song that goes with our theme of the national conference, which is really cool. So Bob will have all the teams from across the nation put together clips, and he edits all the clips together and makes a really fun video that everyone gets to participate in. So that's what we're going to be doing this Saturday at 12, directly after our Super Saturday training. So make sure you tune in. There is a event for this in the calendar. Every week at 6 p.m. on Thursdays, we have our private capital masterclass. Make sure you're tuning into that, watching your classes, bringing your questions, and having those private capital conversations. Every day after this call, we have our dream call, the daily real estate action mastermind, from 9 to about 10 o'clock. We talk all things real estate investing. Bring your questions, bring your wins. It's been a really, really great call. And then, of course, we're here. We've got our team marketing call every morning from 8 to 9. And then last but not least, we've got the Zoom up call with Scott Rowe and Michael Huggins, where they interview a different student each day of the week. So we're getting to hear about all kinds of amazing stories from what people are able to create with their Renatus business from across the country. These Zoom up calls are designed for your guests. They're only about 20-25 minutes long. So make sure that you are getting your guests in front of the Zoom up calls. If they're not able to make it live, they can catch the recording on the Elevate Renatus YouTube channel. Oh Yes, OES is where you can sign up for the optional event subscription. Once you're a part of the optional event subscription, then you're able to participate in a lot of the extra support that we've got going on. There's a short video on the website that talks more about what the OES is and what comes with it, why you want to be a part of it. So do check that out if you haven't already. If you're looking to introduce your guests to the Profits education, you can do so by plugging them in with the Profits intro that Bob Tierney does on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. You can find it in the Helios calendar. Every week we have a virtual house tour, and last week's numbers are really, really incredible, very motivating. Wanda listed a property for $430,000, and then they ended up getting an offer for over $40,000 more than what they put it on the market for, which is super amazing. It's really cool to see what can happen out there. So congratulations, Wanda and Alfonso. Each week we're doing a virtual house tour every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So do make sure you're tuning into the house tour, getting your guests plugged in as well. These are really, really fun events and really powerful. Every Thursday, we've got our house tour offered in Spanish. So on Wednesdays, it's in English, and then we do it again on Thursday in Spanish. And then everything else here is in English. We've got our Pillars of Wealth intro presentation. We've got our follow-up and funding webinar. We've got an onboarding session. The Essential Study Group actually has, we're not doing that anymore because of the Monday night study group. So I do need to update this slide. And then we do have our real estate study groups, multifamily wholesaling, and short-term rental. We have our Facebook page and our YouTube channel that I've mentioned a couple of times. You want to definitely make sure that you're a part of the Facebook page so you can catch these recordings, network with people from the community, as well as keep updated on important announcements. So make sure you're part of the Facebook page. And then also our YouTube channel, you can catch these recordings as well as the Zoom up calls. All right, so thanks for bearing with me through those announcements. Lots of stuff going on. I'm just so grateful that we have so much support within our business and our community. Let's go ahead and switch over to our money mastermind video. We're going to go ahead and just watch this together. And then at the end, there's a short exercise that we'll go through together.
This woman planned to become a college professor and instead found herself at the forefront of technology. Would you have made the same choice as she did? Susan Wojcicki has been at the helm of YouTube since 2014, but her tech roots go way back. In 1998, Susan made the decision to rent her Menlo Park, California garage to a pair of budding tech entrepreneurs, Google co-founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page. In fact, Google was incorporated on September 4th, 1998 in Susan's garage. Not long after, Susan became the fledgling search engine's marketing manager and its 16th employee. That one small step started the building of the network Susan Wojcicki would use to become one of the most powerful women in the technology industry. Susan Wojcicki grew up on the Stanford campus in Palo Alto, where her father was a physics professor. She started her first business when she was 11 years old, selling spice ropes door to door in her neighborhood. They were a hit, and the business bug bit the young entrepreneur. Susan went on to Harvard to study history and literature, graduating in 1990. She'd planned on getting a PhD in economics and becoming a college professor like her father, but then she discovered technology after taking her first computer science class during her senior year. The path of her life changed. Susan got her master's degree in economics from the University of California, Santa Cruz, and her MBA from UCLA. At Google, Susan worked on the company's first viral marketing campaigns as well as the original Google Doodles. Wojcicki rose through the ranks at Google to become Senior Vice President of Advertising and Commerce. She led the Advertising and Analytics Products division, which included AdWords, AdSense, DoubleClick, and Google Analytics. Susan developed AdSense, which became Google's second largest revenue generator. Eventually, Susan found herself overseeing Google Video, which is when she proposed the idea of buying the competing company YouTube to the board of directors. At the time, YouTube was a small startup. It was also one of Google's largest acquisitions at $1.65 billion. Wojcicki's stake in Google makes her one of the richest self-made women in the US. She has an estimated net worth of $350 million. She is also one of the most powerful women in technology. She ranks second behind Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, who, by the way, was not only a year behind Susan at Harvard, but also a Google colleague for a time. The network you build is everything. Chances are Susan Wojcicki didn't have any idea how far she would go with the two young technology entrepreneurs she rented her garage to back in 1998. She was a newly minted MBA working at Intel when she started building the network that would take her all the way to the helm of one of the hottest internet sites around. Over nearly the next 2 decades, the network Susan built on the back of her connection to Google's co-founders has made her incredibly successful, powerful, and wealthy. Call to action: networking. Take 10 minutes right now to consider how you could more effectively rely on your network. Reach out to your top 3 contacts and ask them what they need. Solve one of their problems. As you do this, you will increase your value to them.
All right, I'm just gonna put on some music real quick here, and we'll take a few minutes to jot down our thoughts from the question here. Got about 1 minute left for anyone who's just jumping on. We're just taking a couple minutes to answer the question here. All righty. Our time is up. Hopefully that was enough time. I did cut the time just a little bit shorter today because I feel like they kind of answered the question for us, but what I did was jot down top 3 contacts and pondered a little bit more about that. So hopefully that was enough time for all of you. Let's go ahead and get going with our call this morning. We've got a fantastic trainer today. I'm excited to bring him out. Today is Wealth Wednesday, and we get to learn from Daine Clark. Daine is a very, very amazing individual. He's very sharp and has created a lot of success for himself in this business. So we are very fortunate to get to learn from Daine. Make sure to take notes today. Daine's got a really incredible story. Before Renatus, he was working 2 jobs. He was working for Apple. He was working in the back of Apple, stocking shelves, counting cell phones, not necessarily out on the floor talking to people because he was shy at the time. Didn't necessarily have the best skills when it came to talking with people. And then he was also a roofer on the weekends because that's what his dad did. So at the time he was barely making ends meet and he knew he needed to make a change. He left Apple and decided to look into real estate investing. He found Renatus, got involved, started to watch his classes, listened to his mentors, applied what he was learning. And with his first deal, he utilized Velocity Banking as leverage as a down payment for a duplex where he lived in one side of the duplex, rented out the other side. And if we fast forward to today, now Daine has been in Renatus about 4 years and has raised over $21 million from various investors to go towards his transactions. Not only that, he has also grown his team and is on the PIT, meaning he is in training to be on the President's Advisory Council with our CEO, Bob Snyder. So he is a key leader on the marketing side, as well as he is killing it on the real estate side, where he just completed, well, he's completed now well over 100 deals. So excited to learn from Daine today. Good morning, Daine. How are you?
Good morning, Keely. How are you doing? And I got banned to the toy holler today. Sleep training our 5-month-old, almost 6-month-old. So I'm too noisy in the morning, I guess. But good morning, Renatus Nation. Excited to be here. In fact, it's crazy. I was gonna say, Keely, the video that I'm not sure if you picked that, but some of the thoughts that I've got today are perfectly in line with that video. So we'll get right to it. But let's go ahead. I want to hear from you guys, and we got 72 on the call, so I want to see 72 comments if I can. How many people did you talk to in the last 7 days? How many people did you get to an intro? How many people did you get in front of a one-on-one? How many people did you get to, let's see, did we have any special events? House tour. How many people got to see Wanda's house, either virtual or in person? How many people did you go to lunch with and talk real estate investing? How many people, I mean, you name it. How many conversations did you have overall? Like I know I talk and share this almost every week, but the number I care about is how many one-on-ones I do, because the one-on-ones means I had the intros, I got them the info, and then we sat down on a one-on-one, and I asked them for an order. I asked them if they wanted to do business together, and so let me actually go ahead and flip this off. Nice and cozy in here now. And so on and so forth. So look at this, 17. Oh, come on, guys. How many people? We got 72 on the line. Let's see it. Let me give some love, because I want to try and get right into the training today. And so Jody had 3, Stanley had 6, Sherry had a goose egg, Gilda had 3, Jared had 6, Laura 1, Luis 3, Doug 2, Doris 2, Rick's lots of text and conversations, 3 one-on-ones though. Great job, Rick. Tamara had 7. Great job. Charles 2, 8 for Andres. Great job, brother. Isaac had 1. Lara had 6. David McIntyre had 3. Sherry had 1. Sindro, 15 conversations, 20 plus text messages. Amy had 2. Al had 2 people sign up. 10-day. Oh, doing the 10-day challenge, I think, is what that means. Bobby Johnson had 6. Deborah had 3. Jenna 4. Scarlett 7. Millie, oh, let's see, it's Miri I have 1 coming to the open house. Brian had 6. Oh, 6 in the 10-day challenge so far. Great job. Let's see, Keely, 3 one-on-ones, lots of text, building for the 10-day challenge, reaching out to lots of people. Yeah, this is a great time to like reach out to old people, like, hey, guess what we're doing? Good stuff. Jenna, 4 follow-ups, 3 raising money conversations. Great job. Clayton talked to 1. Cool. So let's do it real quick. Let's have one person come out and ask a question, tell us a story of something that didn't go very, very well, or something that somebody said something and you were deer in the headlights. You name it. I want to have one quick conversation with somebody. Let's help you. Let's help you grow to the next level. And anything is game as long as you're taking action. That's the one thing I want to make sure is if you're taking action, then I can tell by your questions if you're taking action or not.
I don't want to take the spotlight,
What's that,
but if anyone else wants to come out and share, please do. But I got a pretty nice rejection on Friday that I could bring up if no one else has anything.
I have one, but
go for it, Sherry.
Let's do both. Let's do both. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sherry, and then we'll go to Keely.
Okay, so I've had a person who's gone to a property tour, intro, and then they went to an intro on Thursday, and then we're out of town Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? And so I told them I'll call them on yesterday, contact them yesterday about setting up another time to talk, about like where to go after that, what we're going to do after that. And they were just telling me like, we're really slow in making decisions. We don't make quick decisions and all that stuff. So I contacted them yesterday, the husband, and he was like, I don't have time to talk today. I work in the morning and the evening, and so I don't have time to talk today. And so that's where it left off. And so what do I do next?
All right, so they're pulling the I don't have time. Sometimes when it feels like they're pushing me off, I know people have heard me say stuff like this, but when they're pushing me off like that, a couple of things, right? I'm gonna say there's two things that could be happening here. I'm gonna share my screen real fast. Oh, Keely, can I share my screen real quick?
Wait, but could one of them be that they are actually busy or not?
I'm gonna go there. So let's see, share screen and iPad. Bam. I'm able to connect to what? Let's try it again. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna take a guess. One of two things. In the process of going from the very, 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 very first intrigue conversation, however that was, warm lead, cold lead, you know, advertisement, whatever it was, all the way to where they put their card and all the stuff that happens in between, you know, the one-on-ones, the events, the testimonials, all the stuff in between.
Yeah.
Sometimes if somebody doesn't set the stage, or I should say, I'm gonna put myself in this and say this is the mistakes. These are the mistakes that I have learned from my own experiences. But sometimes if you don't set the stage correctly in the front, then it actually creates that chain effect of as you're going along the way, or as you're going along, the people almost they act that way because they probably weren't really sold on just the idea, right? In the beginning, we're just selling them on the idea, the idea of real estate investing, right? You know, and I started asking people, in fact, I think I shared this a couple of weeks ago, and this has been working so well for me in preparing people. Some of the questions I ask people are, you know, number one, I want to know, have you considered investing in real estate? Oftentimes the reason we're talking, I already know that, but if I need to go that far back, then I will. So, but from there, it's how long, right? I want to get a feel for where this person is, because I feel like, and I bet you I could ask every single person on this call, and all of us would answer very, very similar in that we all go through this stage, right? Or these stages of, oh, you know, and this is before Renatus even comes into the picture, but, oh yeah, we want to get into real estate. And, you know, it sounds like a good idea to like, and then over time, this could happen in the course of like a week, a month. This could happen over the course of 5 years, right? My personal story was about a year where I went from like, oh yeah, sounds like a good idea, to like, oh yeah, I think that I should do that. I should actually do something about real estate investing, to the point where it was like, you know what? I think I need to do something in real estate investing. And then, you know, more life things happen, like, oh my gosh, I have to do something in real estate investing, you know, and then all the way to the point, it's just like, crap, I need to learn how to do this. I need mentorship. I need help. And I have to make this happen. And then you go all the way through, and let's say they buy Renatus, they start learning, and then they close on their first deal. It goes to like, this better freaking work. Or maybe, right? Actually, you know, I'm going to say that actually happens when people buy Renatus, because I remember handing my ICM, my enroller, 4 credit cards and said, run it for 20 grand. Biggest purchase I had ever made in my life, even more than any car I had bought in my life at that time. And I was like, this better freaking work, right? So we have these stages, okay? And now all the people that we're talking to are going through the same thing. And so by you understanding this is going to help set that stage. And so I want to know, how long have you been interested in getting into real estate? Okay, so how long? Number 3, and this is one of my favorite ones. And sometimes I'll actually bring up that concept of like, hey, I feel like people go through these stages. Where are you at? Are you in the like, it sounds like a good idea, to the point where you're just like, no, I need to make some money in real estate investing. I'm going to make money in real estate investing. I have already decided. And so I try to gauge that with the person that I'm qualifying. Now, of course, this is if I'm having those conversations with them. If you're using a funnel, then the funnel is going to kind of do that for you, where they prep them and they come down through, like the videos, the video series. They watch a video, and by the time they get to you, it's like, all right, do you want to do? I got a dumb question for you. You want to do this? But anyway, here's the next question that I really, really, really like. You guys ready? Let me give you a head nod. Okay, Andres, give me a head nod, buddy. You ready for this? So, I like to ask this question: what have you been preparing, or how? What or how have you been preparing to get into real estate investing? Obviously, real estate investing takes money. Most people don't know in those early stages that it doesn't have to take your money. But I love asking that question. What have you been doing to prepare? How have you been preparing to get into real estate investing? This gives me permission to say, have you been building your credit? And you guys know what I'm doing with this. I'm qualifying them to see if they can afford Renatus to buy a combo. Yeah? So next one, have you been preparing your credit? Have you been saving up? Have you been looking at deals? Looking at properties? I shouldn't say looking at deals, because if you're looking at Google or Zillow or Redfin or whatever, you're not looking at deals. You're looking at properties. Have you been looking at properties? There's no deals on Redfin or Zillow. Deals come from conversations. Deals are made, not found. And so have you been looking at properties, right? And so I ask these questions, and I've got a pretty good idea if that person is a good candidate to say, you know what, you and I should talk after they answer those questions. What have you been preparing? Okay. And then from here, next questions I like to ask, because if they start telling me they have money or credit, I like to ask this. And again, this is all in like a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute max. When I schedule this appointment with somebody, right? First, I should say I have the intrigue where it's just like, oh yeah, I want to talk about real estate investing. And I say, you know what? You and I should talk. I schedule a 15-minute conversation to ask all these questions. That's it. And if I run out of time, and by the time I get down to some of these, and if I run out of time, I basically say, you know what? I think you and I should talk. Let's schedule another appointment. And then I schedule an hour-long appointment with that person. And so, again, and I cut it off. Bam, my time's valuable. Even if I have nothing after that 15-minute appointment, I cut it off. Because I want to respect my time. I want to respect theirs, and I want them to respect my time, and I want them to respect their own as well. Okay, so I ask these types of questions. Now, if I have time, when they've answered these questions, and I'm just like, cool, this person's ready. This person has reached the phase where they're just like, I am going to do this. And I want to help get them to the next phase of this better work. Because when they hand over $23,000 for Renatus, that's one of those. It's like, this better work. I remember what that felt like. Okay, so now moving on. Next question. Now I'm going to say this is extra credit down here. Extra credit down here is I like to ask them. I feel like there are two types of real estate investors. One is passive and the other is active. Passive are the people that literally, they've got cash in, and sometimes I'll put a dollar amount out there, depending on how they answer up here, like depending on how they answer this one or this one or this one. But especially these two. When I ask a question, or if they answer and say, oh yeah, I've had people tell me, oh yeah, I got $100,000 in a savings account. Cool, we're ready. So I ask that next question. So I feel like most investors either swing more towards passive or towards active. Passive is like the people that have $50,000 or more, $100,000 or more, 200,000. It depends on what your criteria is in real estate, but somebody that has money in excess of a dollar amount, and all they want is deals presented to them. That is it. Okay, that's what they want. So they want to be a bank. They want deals presented to them. They want nothing else to do with the real estate, and they want to make some kind of a percentage return. And they have money, right? I usually throw a dollar amount out there, and all they want to do is twiddle their thumbs, right? Now, I legitimately say that phrase when I'm having this conversation with people, right? Or people want to be active. They want to actually walk through properties. They actually want to make offers. They actually want to negotiate with a seller. They want to negotiate with a seller. They actually want to get bids from contractors. They want to cut checks to subcontractors or contractors, at the end of every week because they're flipping a house, or they want to, deal with background checks and screening, or deal with property managers. Okay. Yes, I consider rental properties active. Even if you have a property manager, it's still an active business. There's several moving parts when it comes to rental properties, even if you have a property manager. Okay. And so I start asking them this, and I make that list like that of, I want to get involved, right? Yeah, there's a heck of a lot more money to be made over here, because now you're treating it like a business, you're treating it like a side hustle, right? And so I like to let them choose. Oh, I want to throw money at deals and I want to twiddle my thumbs. Or like, no, I want to get after this. I want to be active. I want to treat this like a side hustle. I know there is money to be made. Let's do that. Okay. So when I set the stage that way, I'm sure Sherry, you can see and give me some feedback here on the person that you've told the story about. When you set the stage this way, you're going to weed people out way on the front end. And if they start answering questions, how long, like, I don't know, what have you been doing to prepare? Like, I've just been looking into it, YouTube. Or if they're like, no, like I've been working on my credit. I've been saving up as much as I can. Like, I want to get into this. I'm excited to I'm to that phase where I need to go from this is a good idea to this better work, essentially. And when I ask them all these questions and I say, it's almost as if I have just asked them a bunch of questions. And now I'm like, all right, based on everything that you just said, I've got something that I think you're really going to like. And so then I say, let's talk. I schedule my one-on-one with them. And in between the one-on-one, I say, oh, by the way, I want you to watch this video series. And they watch it because I prepped them. I prepped them to get excited about what we're going to talk about in the one-on-one when we sit down. And then, I've actually been doing this. This has been really fun too. I don't do it in this meeting, but I like to do it in between this meeting and maybe this meeting, where this one is like, come to like a group activity, a house tour and a house tour, an intro, intensive, you name it, right? Now, in between this one, and sometimes they're reversed. Sometimes it's a group event first, and then it's a one-on-one. But I like to actually send them, and this is a new thing. In fact, here, let me show you. I'm doing this tonight. So in my meeting tonight with Will, I sent him some homework, right? So you can see all this homework that I gave Will. I said, all right, I want you to watch this video, and I want you to analyze the deal that we are meeting at. I want you to fill in the numbers of what you think the ARV would be, what the selling cost would be. I'm going to give you the rehab. We're spending $60,000. I want you to fill in the holding cost, the purchase, closing cost, what the purchase price should be, and what you think the net profit should be. I want you to fill in all these numbers because I want to create a gap in Will's mind. I want him to be like, Daine, help me. I don't know what I'm doing, essentially. And so, and I would like, if you don't have a deal yourself, I would just do this with the numbers that Keely just flashed on the screen a few minutes ago for the weekly house tour. I would say, I would schedule one-on-one, and I would say, hey, here's an actual deal that our community is doing. When we meet next time, I want you to go through and what would you pay for this? What do you think you could sell it for? And then see how close they get to the numbers that they shared. You know, obviously this is my deal, but see how close they get to the deal that you share with them. Whether it's, you know, if you don't have a deal, use the house tour. We get a new one every single week. Okay. And one thing that I'll do is I'll use the same deal until it's gone. You know, because then it's like I've got it programmed into my mind, all these numbers that I you know, every single one-on-one that I do with people. And so in between there, I say, analyze this deal. On your own, it's going to be painful. And I tell them, I say the purpose I'm doing this is because I want you to be able to show up and have questions. More often than not, people don't know what to ask. They don't know what they don't know. And so my job, and I tell them this, my job over the next few weeks, I shouldn't say months, because that'd be a really long close, but over the next few weeks, like I want to help create and help you discover what you don't know that you don't know. Because that is the most dangerous place. It's the most dangerous place to enter real estate investing in. And so if I can help uncover that for you, and then you're like, cool, I need to learn this, then you're going to take action. Okay. So Sherry, I hope that helped. I'm sure everybody, I'm sure everybody's light bulbs are turning on from this. But Keely, Sherry, if you don't have any questions, let's go to Keely. I want to hear this slap rejection.
I have a question.
Go ahead. Who was that?
Are you here? The question is, what did you write between intrigue and group? What is that? 1 through?
Oh, one-on-ones.
Oh, one-on-ones. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I get excited.
I'm excited too. Thank you.
Or these are flip-flopped. Sometimes I do a group event first and I do the one-on-one after. Either way, whatever is most convenient at the time of that intrigue conversation, or whatever is like days away. I'll schedule a one-on-one if I have to, because there's not a group event for like 4 or 5 days. So yeah. All right, Keely. Go ahead.
I get what you said, okay, that about building the intrigue. And so now for the future going forward, I know like when I'm talking to people and having conversation, you know, kind of like the step-by-step process of what to do, right? And so I guess I was just trying to think of like, what is my next conversation that I'm going to have with them though?
Oh, that's right. Duh. I needed to answer that one for you. I would call them up and I would apologize. I would say, I am so sorry. I got so excited. Please don't confuse my excitement for being, pushy or whatever. This actually really works. Please don't confuse my excitement for feeling like I'm pushing you guys too fast. Because there's probably a reason why they said, oh, we make decisions slow. And so you validate that by saying, I'm so sorry. Please don't confuse my excitement for making you feel like, I'm trying to push you too fast in making decisions. I said, but I kind of got ahead of myself. I should have been asking more questions to really help you guys navigate. And then I would just teach them. I would teach them that I feel like most people go through those phases of like, oh yeah, like this is a good idea, to like, hey, I think I should do this, to like, I should do this, to where they jump over that line, like this better freaking work. And then you start asking like, so tell me, if you don't know answer these questions. So tell me, how long have you guys actually been looking into real estate investing? What have you guys been doing to prepare? Have you been building your credit? Have you been saving up? And where do you feel like you are in that spectrum of like, hey, this is a good idea, to I should do this, to how am I going to do this? When am I going to start? To, all right, there's no turning back. We're going to make money in real estate. And so try to help them gauge themselves in that process. And you say, cool, I want, if all I do is help you go from here to here, or even from here to here, then my job is, I don't want to say my job is done, but I have done what I set out to do. Because that person, if you only get them to move from here to here, they're not buying Renatas. It's going to be months, years sometimes until they buy Renatas. Right? Your job is to just understand where they are and move them an inch or a mile until until they get to that point where they're like, I have to do this, and they buy Renatas. Right? Every single person on this call, I could interview all of you guys.
Okay.
And say, where were you when you handed your credit cards over to your ICM enroller? You were there. You were like, this has to work. This better work, I should say. Okay. Cool. More questions, or should we go to Keely?
Hey, one quick comment. So this presentation right here is geared for someone who's seriously entertained the idea of, getting into investing in real estate. So how would you treat someone that is, just beginning to entertain the idea?
So for example, what I'm hearing you say, Andres, is, and that was Andres. Yeah, Andres. I'm feeling like they're kind of like wishy-washy, then I just start telling them stories. And legitimately, like some people, I will say no. So in fact, let me give you an example. I had a kid call me. I can't remember how he got my number, but I had a kid call me a couple of weeks ago, and he started. I asked him these questions, and he's just like, well, we're really just like looking into it, and we're really. And I said, and he blamed it on his wife a little bit. Because I started asking these questions, and so I feel like he was kind of like, yeah. He's early on in that phase, and so I said, so I can't even remember his name, but I told him, I said, tell you what, man, because he wanted to go to lunch with me. He was like, hey, can I take you to lunch? Can I take you to lunch? I said, tell you what, let's call him Ed. Tell you what, Ed, before I go to lunch with you, let me ask you a question. And then I gave him that spectrum. I said, people are usually in this like, hey, this is a good idea to, I'm gonna keep on saying this again, because I want you guys to hear this. This is a good idea, to like, hey, I should probably do this, to like, I should do this, to I'm going to do this. I'm going to do whatever it takes. That's another one I really like to say. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get into a deal. And so, Ed, where do you feel like you are? And he basically told me like, I'm kind of back in that early stage. And I said, tell you what, talk to your wife and tell her this. Talk to your wife and tell her, about this spectrum basically, and decide where you guys want to be in the next month, in the next year. Like, do you want to be in your first deal within the next 12 months? And because he couldn't answer that question. And so I refused taking him to lunch. I don't want to spend my time with that kind of person. And so I told him, when you get to that point where you're like, you know what, I'm ready to progress to the next level of, I should do this, we will go to lunch. I said, so talk to your wife and get back to me and let me know where you guys are at, as a couple, I should say. And I asked him, I said, so would that be fair to ask before I take you to lunch? or you take me to lunch. And he's like, yeah, that sounds totally fair. I said, cool, talk to your wife. And I said, however, one extra thing. Have you ever read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And he said, no, I haven't. I said, read that book. I don't care how you get access to it. I don't care. Get Rich Dad, Poor Dad and read that book. Fair enough? And he's like, yeah, fair enough. And so I never took him to lunch. I refused him. Because I know that, kind of like what Sherry said, oh, we make decisions really slow. It might be because they're kind of back there, right? And so you need that person to progress. You can't force it, right? Now let me flip the coin on another story. A guy named Cameron. I started asking him all these same questions, and he's like, it's crazy. I'm feeling like I've been prepared. I've been prepared for this point in my life. Things are changing in work. I'm opening up more time. I'm opening up more freedom. And so he's like, I feel like it's right to start getting into real estate investing. And my apologies, Keely. I really did want to hear that, your story, but I think this is valuable. This gentleman, Cameron, I told him, because I know, again, I could feel like he had not been preparing at all. I said, Cameron, how easy would it be for you to get access to Rich Dad, Poor Dad? It took him 1 week where he's like, hey, I finished it. I was like, all right. And guess who's buying his Epics combo? Not Ed, but Cameron is. He's buying his Epics combo. We're getting him a massive HELOC. We're getting him lines of credit, right? He is at that tipping point of this better work, and he wants Renatus, right? Does that answer your question, Andres? Cool. All right, Keely, go. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I also just wanted to mention someone wanted you to zoom out so they could get a screenshot of what you've trained on here.
Oh, yeah.
Because this I can apply to exactly my scenario too. I'm wondering if I had done some of this, maybe had it turned out differently. I have a really good friend that I've known since elementary school. We were very close friends in elementary school. We both moved out to Arizona, continued our friendship here. And then since she's moved, anyway, she's a close friend of over 20 years. And I have not reached out to her about Renatus, but she's been following me on Facebook, has recently been intrigued, not necessarily by my posts, but by other people and just myself, a lot of different people, but she's learning that she wants to get involved in real estate investing. A couple of her other friends have figured out ways to do it outside of Renatus, so she's just very intrigued. And so she reached out to me and those friends, and I ended up having a call with her. And she came to a couple of events, loved what she saw at the events. And then she looked up Renatus online, saw that we are a network marketing company, and told me that she cannot have anything to do with it simply because of that. So,
Ouch. I hate that one. That one is so hard.
Yeah. Just the fact that she loved what she saw, and then based on something silly she saw online, she's completely made her decision off of that. So since she's such a close friend, I wanted to respect that and not necessarily challenge it, where maybe with a cold lead, I might challenge that more, be a little bit more aggressive. But for her, I just respected it and said, good luck, no worries, have a good weekend.
Yes. And it's tough. It's tough with close relationships, because you don't want to push it, you don't want to burn anybody. But let me share with you one thing that I recently did, because somebody told me that they wanted to look into Renatus like that. They wanted to do the Googling. And so before we get cut off for the dream call, take a screenshot of this. But I basically gave homework to this gentleman where I said, hey, I want you to look at the reviews. Go and look for both negative and positive reviews. And notice what I did in here that was a little bit like, you can see like how I can make somebody feel really stupid if they came to me and just said there's all these negative reviews. So I said, look into both negative and positive reviews about Renatus and decide who you want to believe. Because they're both out there. And the crazy thing is what I legitimately told this person, I said, I can tell you exactly what your future looks like, depending on who you choose to believe.
Daine,
I'll
can
do.
you,
Sure.
can you copy that into the chat? I can't see it real good.
I will share the screenshot in the, oh, that's perfect too. I can also share the
Let's
screenshot I
see.
took in the group Facebook.
Okay.
Daine, real quick, if you had someone with that wanted
Thank
to
you.
roll, can you hear me?
You're really quiet,
Yes, go
whoever's
ahead.
talking.
And we might get cut off for the dream call, so my apologies if we do. We'll maximize as much time as we can.
It's a longer question, so don't worry. We'll ask on the next call. Don't worry. But
Okay,
it
cool.
kind of perfect into this though. But yeah, we'll ask next time. No problem. Thanks.
Cool. Good call today, guys. I think we didn't even get into what I had planned for us, but you know what? I think this had precedence. I think a lot of people really turned some light bulbs on. So love you all, and we'll be nice and we'll get out before they start the dream call. All right, guys, I will see you all in a week. Happy conversation.
call.
Go ahead. Yeah, my pleasure. Always
Daine.
my pleasure.